enough so that it doesn't happen, the 9/11 Responders Bill. It's a bill that gives health care protection to firefighters, police officers, and others who rushed to ground zero the morning of 9/11. Up here, you'll see the cloud of dust from the collapsed World Trade Center towers. That's what they were breathing. The first responders breathed it for days and weeks as they tried to save lives. Researchers say they've linked that dust to high rates of asthma and sinus problems. Some of the first responders have since developed throat and lung cancer. Some have reportedly died of what happened down there. But it's very difficult to definitively prove to a court of law, for instance, that the dust caused those diseases, making the issue of insurance and payments for the victims extremely complicated. Senator Coburn and others say there is a problem with the cost of the bill and how it's funded. Coburn says he doesn't want Congress to rush it through the lame duck session, though truly this has been around for years. Today, first responders who rushed to ground zero, who are now sickened and dying, shared their stories.
Respiratory ailments began almost immediately. The cancers, they began just a couple of years later.
Me, myself, I have lung disease, asthma, nodules, and I have scarring on my lungs. This is not a game, okay? This is human life that we're talking about. We're not asking to have a bill passed to send us to Disneyland. We're not asking to have a pool put in all our backyards. We're asking for the right to live.
Who in this room has been to 44 funerals in the last 4 years? Raise your hand. Anybody? Me. You cannot hide behind anything anymore other than you do not want to help heroes. You have no more excuses with me. Make no mistake, we're sick and dying, but we are not going away.
Tear down this wall between patriotism and party and pass this bill. Thank you.
At this point, all they can do is make their cases, but now it's up to Congress. Our national correspondent Steve Santani is live in Washington. Steve, where exactly does this stand in the Senate? You know, because yesterday we had on Kirsten Gillibrand, who's one of the sponsors of this bill, and she was like, we have the numbers now. And then I read this morning on Politico that Tom Coburn is going to slow the thing down to where this Congress will leave and go home for the holidays, having not passed this. Is that what's happening here?
She's hopeful, but he is adamant as well and could block it. As you said, it's a bill that provides health insurance and compensation for up to 109,000 first responders and those exposed to those toxic fumes down there. This will come up right after the START treaty, which is being debated or it's being finalized right now. But it's unclear whether it will be allowed to move forward at this point. Tom Coburn afraid that taxpayer money won't be properly spent, and he's threatening to block the bill. Let's listen.
This is a bill that's been drawn up and forced through Congress at the end of the year on a basis to solve a problem that we didn't have time to solve and we didn't get done. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass a bill, maybe, doubtful, and then we're going to have to come back and fix it, and we're going to waste a whole bunch more money.
Now, this bill was already blocked by the Senate about 2 weeks ago, but it's coming back for another try. Its fate uncertain. Shep?
All right. What are the Democrats saying about the charges that the money might somehow get misused? And for that matter, that it hasn't been around for a long time, because it has.
Well, right. And they say this bill is the way to make sure the money is used effectively for the right people in the right way. And they accuse the Republicans of playing politics in that the recent election showed a lot of public support for fiscal restraint.
We now have the votes to prevail. The only thing standing in our way is people who might want to run out the clock. They can't succeed with the votes, so they're going to try to delay and delay and delay till time runs out. We plead with them. Please do not do that. That is not fair. That is not right.
And the clock certainly is ticking. If the bill does pass the Senate this time around, its chances in the House are good, but the question is timing. Will all this get done before Christmas, before the end of the year, before the new Congress takes over? Shep?
What is the thinking on Senator Coburn's part? Is his thinking that they want to do it in the next Congress so the next Congress gets credit? Is that at all what this is about?
That could be one of his political calculations, but I'm not sure. He says it hasn't had time to go through the proper committee procedure. There was one hearing. We checked on that. There was one last June, but it wasn't the full committee procedure where you had testimony, amendments, debate, and then a final vote. It didn't go through that process. He thinks it should. That's one of his complaints.
All right, Steve Centani live on Capitol Hill again. This is the picture of Senator Tom Coburn, Republican of Oklahoma. He is the man who is vowing to slow this down or block it so that the necessary funding for the illnesses of the first responders who made it to ground zero to try to save lives on the day that America changed, remember? This is the senator who is vowing to block it so that it doesn't make it through. Senator Tom Coburn, Republican of Oklahoma, the man who vows today to block or delay the 9/11 first responders bill, despite the fact that Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York and Senator Chuck Schumer of New York say they have the votes to get it done. Well, it's a decision that could affect anybody who browses the web or searches streaming video online. There are brand new rules from the government